So when you want to understand a line in more detail, you can click through to that particular line and that will bring you to the live page for that line. Here you can see a chart that shows the live production flow, in this case over the last 8 hours, and beneath it some key KPIs that you can see that are relevant to your line. If you hover over one of these KPIs, you can see a description of what that KPI means. And similarly, you can edit the display options by clicking the 3 dots in the top right and then clicking on display options. Here, you're going to get an explanation of what each KPI means and the option to click or unclick the box for whether you want to see it or not. So if I click scrap rate, remove yield rate, unclick this, click that, and then click update, that's now going to reflect exactly what it is you've selected so that the KPIs are most relevant to you and this page isn't cluttered. All of this data can be exported, both the chart and the KPI data, by clicking on CSV or Excel, and then that data in your browser will immediately be downloaded in CSV or Excel format. Similarly, you can actually print this live chart page by clicking on this burger menu here on the right. You can print the chart or download it as an image, a PNG or a JPEG. All of this data that we've been looking at here can be viewed over different time frames. So in this example, we're looking at 8 hours. But I could change to 24 hours, 72 hours, or I can click on this calendar page here and I can look over longer time frames. So let's say, for example, I want to look at the entire month of October. I can click from October 1st to October 31st. If I want to make it more specific, I can change the exact time frames down here. But once I've selected the range I'm happy with, I click OK, and that pulls up the data from the entire month of October as quick and easy as that. Similarly, if I go back to this calendar icon, I can look at relative time frames. So I could look at the last 5 minutes, I could look at the last 8 hours, 3 days, 4 weeks, so on and so forth. So this is just a quick and easy way to look at kind of key time frames that might be relevant to you. I can also look at this data on the batch level. So once you've imported your batches into the system, which we go over in another tutorial, you can see all of the different batches that have been recently completed on this particular line. So if I click on this completed batch, for example, I click OK, it then pulls up the data from that particular batch. Similarly, if I import my shift schedule into the system, I can look at the data from a particular shift. So I've clicked recent shifts here. I can then pick a shift that's most relevant to me. So let's say the Monday afternoon shift. I click that, and there is the live data from the Monday afternoon shift, as easy as that. All of this data is refreshing as on standard by 30 seconds, but you can change the refresh rate should you like by clicking on this drop-down menu and changing it to, let's say, 60 seconds or 10 seconds, whatever it is that you want to do, or you can manually refresh by clicking on the refresh icon here. Beneath the live page, you can see this expected speed and validated speed are showing on the chart. So the expected speed here is this black line showing the speed that the line should be running at, and the validated speed is the line above that showing the max speed that you've said the line can run at. Now currently on the chart, in the interest of keeping it clear, the stops aren't visible, but if I was to click on show stops on chart, I can then see on this live page the stops that have happened on this line and when it's been down. Similarly, your operators can add annotations and be showing the annotations here. So an annotation is essentially a comment from an operator on the line that they want to attach to a particular timestamp. So to show how that's done, if an operator wants to click at this particular time, they click that and then they click add annotation. They can add a label for that annotation. For example, here I'll just call it test and the time for it, and then they create that. So as this is done over time, when your operators click show annotations, you can then see the comment that we've just made here and a previous one made here. So you can see those annotations on the line. But by default, those aren't visible in the interest of clarity.